Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the FiveMarks Pro Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, as always, Mr. Merchant115, the best host, Carmel's favourite host, and Robbie Mac's favourite host. Don't ask him that, though, because he'll tell you otherwise. Joined, as always, by my lovely dance partner.
Hello, I am Carmel. I am the best Mark, as you all know. Welcome back for another week.
Robbie Mac's favourite host.
Of course.
And this week we are joined by a big boy. A big strong boy. We are joined by the golden boy, Mr. Santos.
Hey guys, thank you for having me. That's a quite nice introduction, I'll say.
I'm getting better at these.
You're about to be my favorite host too.
Damn it, I have to try harder. What can I do?
I'm going to bring this up to Robbie Mac now. I'm like, fuck you, I'm Santos. Fuck off, Robbie. I'm going to start things off the way we start things off with everybody. And that is, do you remember your first wrestling memory of what got you into watching wrestling?
I have some quite memories about that. So I started watching, I think it was '05. I was about 7 years old, and since I was a kid, I was a kid that used to go to bed late. And at the time, wrestling wasn't on open channel, but on cable. We had it, but only it was not live, but it always went like 11 p.m., midnight. And I remember I have some memories of watching Kane on the storyline with Matt Hardy. I think so. Coming under the ring.
Yeah.
Or was it with Edge? I don't remember. But I remember Kane, and I remember being so fucking scared of that guy. But at the same time, quite intriguing. So eventually, I kept trying to watch it because I had no clue at what time and what day of the week it went on TV. So eventually, I found out what wrestling was and started watching, I think, more regularly the follow-up to WrestleMania 21 with Batista going against Triple H for the World Heavyweight Championship. That was my first big memory.
Can I ask you, like growing up then, who would have been your favorite?
I think it's a quite easy answer. It had to be Batista. Like for me, growing up, having a human being built like that, it was quite amazing and felt like we were watching a Marvel movie, but with real humans. So that was quite impressive at the time.
Good way of looking at it, actually, in fairness, yeah. What was it about wrestling? It's a tricky question, but what was it about wrestling that kind of, I suppose, drew you in? Was it kind of like the big action, the characters, the storylines?
It was a little bit of everything, to be fair, because I wasn't familiar. Like growing up, I wasn't on a lot of shows. That was my first contact with big shows. All the pyro, all the music, all the entrance, big crowds, and those larger than life dudes and larger than life characters just amazed me from the start. Besides Kane and The Undertaker, that kind of freaked me out.
Don't worry, I was the same. I remember I was going to a house show in '05, and we got to Dublin, and I started to refuse to go because I was terrified of Kane, and Kane was booked on the show. I was like, oh my god, his pyro's going to go off and all this. There was no pyro. Luckily, it came out, squash match, and I was like, thank God. After a whole fit in the hotel room.
Easily happens. When did you kind of decide then that you wanted to kind of pursue wrestling or kind of like try it out?
Oh, that's a big gap. So I was always an athlete through my early life, and I kind of forgot about wrestling since the time they kind of got out of cable, and only went to like paid channels that I didn't have at the time, so I had no way to follow it. Sometimes I went to WWE.com to see the results, but eventually just naturally came out of my life. I remember the watching some stuff online about Portuguese wrestling that kind of got me intrigued, but never did the first step to try it or something because I had something already going on in my life and I didn't have time for that at the time. The first time I really thought, okay, I can give this a try. It might have been in my 22s, I think, maybe around 2017, 2018, where I started trying to see if I could at least try it because I remember watching it as a kid and I always had the curiosity about it. So it wasn't anything serious in the beginning, but I just wanted to give it a try.
Can I ask you, do you remember your first day of training?
I have some memories about it. It was basically just bumps. Um, but to be honest, I found it quite easy. It's a little bit cocky about to say, but
Ooh.
it was like, to be fair, I was a pretty experienced athlete, so all the physical stuff that you usually do in the beginning before going into more technical stuff and more psychology stuff, all the physical stuff was quite easy, to be fair. Like the bumps hurt and I could feel it on the next days, but it was nothing hard. I could bump easily. I could flip bump on the first day. So the physical part I got it quite easily.
Now, I want to ask as well, this is kind of going out of wrestling, but obviously we all know you're quite a big guy. Have you all, like, from, like, your teens, have you constantly been going to the gym? Like, when did, like, the gym life kind of come into for you?
I was always tall, but I was kind of a skinny fat dude. So when I wear clothes, I was very skinny, but shirtless, you could see that I had a belly and I wasn't very built. But I only started training properly at the gym maybe when I started training wrestling, and I realized that I wanted to do that and I wanted to give it a try. That was the first time I really starting to hit the gym more often.
Throw it to you. Carmen, you got a
Interesting.
question there?
I was actually kind of a similar question. Being
Uh,
being as big as you are, did you find that while training that you found anything more difficult, or was it just kind of the same?
I found it quite hard, and I still, of course, I try to still improve in every aspect of wrestling, but especially like the body movements, the body expression, body language. Since I'm a tall guy and I'm starting to get built, it's kind of I move quite awkward in terms of like in aspects like selling or approaching movements. So I'm still working on trying to get the things as fluid as possible. But besides that, that's I have nothing to complain, to be fair.
That's bad. Good. How long was it then before you had your first match?
How long was I training? I think it was maybe around 10 months,
Ooh,
Okay.
10,
that's not
11.
bad.
What are
So,
your memories from that first match? I suppose.
uh, it was actually, I think I was quite lucky because I was actually paid in my first match, and it
Okay.
wasn't even in Portugal, it was in Spain. Um, And funny fact, like it's a company that I still go at least once per year. They don't use, I'm sorry,
You're grand.
You're okay.
um, Germany weather caught me. Um, so it's a company that I still go, and I'll go like later in March this year. And it was quite fun. I was a little bit anxious about it. Not a bad anxiety, but a good anxiety. Like I want to get this done. Um, and it was quite fun. It was a good experience. I have nothing to complain.
Can I ask? So, like, obviously, like, normally the people kind of get booked within their school. Like, oh, our school has this show. We'll put you on your first match here. How did it come about that somewhere else had picked, we'll say, someone that's just learning to wrestle up and like, yeah, we're going to put you on a show?
So it was one of the most experienced guys in the training facility that I was booked on that show, and he told me, I think you're quite decent now. You should like get some training. I can send you photos. We can record the match here in training, and I'll send the promoter. And if he likes it, you can come with me. We go together, and that's how we went. The
Oh,
promoter saw the picture, saw that I was a big dude, The match was decent for the time that I had at wrestling, and it just quite happened naturally.
Okay. I love that, when because it happens. Me and Carmen, it happens a lot with like hard knocks and stuff, where like the person training you reaches out to the other place, like, "Hey, look, I have this person," but it's very uncommon you hear about it nowadays. So I was like, I was taken aback by that. Um, so I have to. So obviously, you've trained. You had your first match in Spain. When did, for your own training school, did you make your, well, not no longer a debut, but your first match for them?
I had some multi-mans, but I never quite had like a show debut there. So we had there was, as it all scenes in Europe kind of happens. We had some disagreements, and I just moved on to another wrestling facility here in Portugal, and I debuted for them maybe 2018, around that.
Can I ask you? Because obviously, like, I know this is jumping a bit ahead, but what are the biggest differences from, well, not only wrestling in Ireland, but just like comparing Irish wrestling to Portuguese?
The biggest differences, it's like night and day. We're getting better, but Ireland is still 15 years ahead. The training, especially at the time that I was coming up, wasn't good. Like we had decent basics, but more than that, like the psychology aspect, the how to build matches together, psychology wasn't that good. We weren't used to work on the fly, for example. We always planned our match ahead. So those are aspects that I think we have improved the last year, and I've tried to bring up to the new guys here. Stuff that I've learned through my travels that I try to pass on to them so they can evolve themselves and eventually evolve the scene.
Because we had this conversation. Renzo was saying the exact same thing when it came to Italian wrestling, and I'm gonna ask you this because we asked him as well. What are the biggest things that you're bringing over to the guys that you're saying, look, do this because this is the right way to do it?
I think the things we try to focus more in training is being comfortable not doing anything in ring. uh don't feel awkward, because there are some times that what you need to do is just stand there and be yourself. So you need to be comfortable in doing that. And selling, because wrestling is about selling, is about selling the story, selling your character, selling the damage, selling everything. So it's the what differentiates a good wrestler than a guy who does spots, if
Hmm.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we are lucky to have very good young guys. They can do all the physical stuff. They can do all the moves. They are athletic. Um, but I try to tell them that but that is good. But if you want to make it even better, you need to be able to do this stuff that it's selling.
I'll throw it back to you, Carmel.
I maybe have a slightly tough question for you because it might be hard to single out two or three people. Is there
That's fine.
anybody, I suppose, training or doing the work in Portugal at the moment that you want people to look out for that could maybe be a possible, I suppose, on an OTT show? Do you know that kind of way?
Uh, I have I have four really good guys that I really try to push in terms of you should go do this, you should go travel there, you should take this opportunity. I can name drop them. I don't care about that. We have Damião. He is a very good young guy. He's 18 now, super young. He has a lot of potential. We have Ricky Boy. There is a small high flyer, very young too. I think he's 20. And we have the two more mature ones. That is Paulo, that actually went to the OTT camp this last time with me. He's a former European Kempo and kickboxing champion. He's very good, very,
Oh.
very good. His strikes are very impressive, and I think he can, if he wants to, he can do it on a European level. And we have a Rafa Pedras that is our or version of Rey Mysterio. He's a very good underdog babyface, and I think he from all the fours, I think he's the one that masters selling the most. But I think all four of them have huge potential if they really want to pursue it. And I'll do my best to help them with what I can help. And I'm really happy that we have Hungry Guys coming up right now.
I'm gonna really put you on the spot here. So you just named those four guys. If
Yeah.
you were to fantasy book them with OTT and Irish wrestlers, who would you put up against each person?
That's a good one. I actually this one was supposed to happen, but Kian Noonan ended up being booked in an OTT show the same day. I would put Ricky Boy with Kian Noonan. They're young high flyers. I think that will be a cool opener match to get the crowd going. I'd put Scotty Davies against Paulo Knockout
Yeah.
Cruz. So we have the kickboxing style against the Greco-Roman. I'd put Omari and Rafa Pedres, the big guy against the underdog. Uh, and I'd probably put Damien with Jay.
I was hoping there'd be a J in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's
Yeah, I
I
like
think there are four good matches. Then I probably am biased about it, but Joe already looked at the guys during the seminar here in Portugal, and I think they did a good job. But I might be biased, but I can think any of these matches will fit in an OTT show.
Yeah. And I mean, as you know, we're always open for any matches at all. So, like, we'd all just love watching it. Carmo.
100%. I want to kind of come back to your own career for a minute. And I want to talk about the APW Championship that you won in 2018, where you beat James Matthews or James Bruiser. How was that moment of, I suppose, winning your first title?
It was special, um, because first of all, it's a very beautiful championship. I don't know if you looked at it, but it's very, very beautiful. But it was very special to me because APW was the only spot here in Portugal where they gave me uh like the opportunity to try stuff because as a young guy coming up in wrestling, especially at the time when I wasn't like built like this yet, I had some trouble trying to find my identity and my ring style and the way I should portray myself. So they gave me a lot of opportunities to try stuff, and I'm very thankful for the guys back then to give me that chance. And that kind of culminated with the APW Championship that I then had to drop when I went to Germany in 2019.
Oh,
That was actually going to be my next question. Coming up towards kind of the end of kind of mid 2019 to kind of the start of 2020, like you were traveling Portugal, Spain, Germany, Belgium, just to name a few places. How was that? I suppose still being quite fairly early on in your career to be now traveling all around Europe wrestling.
It was a very good learning experience. I had a lot of ups, but at the same time, a lot of downs, especially mentally. But that really helped build my personality and build that never give up. Because when I moved to Germany, I think it was February 2019, but it took some time when I first got the first showing for WXW. I had to work my ass off, of course. Did a lot of traveling with the roster at the time. I got to learn from the best, and I got to see the best work. That sometimes just by looking at someone or listening to a conversation, you can learn so much about wrestling, about the business itself, about many situations. And I'm quite grateful for have had that opportunity of traveling to those places.
I want to ask
Very
you,
good.
just because this is conversations that we've had with people like the Sam, Joe Cabray, and Matthew Bullis Smith. what was it about like traveling that kind of like mentally took a toll on you? Was it just being away from family or?
For me, especially, I don't have a big family in terms of numbers, but I'm very tight with my parents. Both of them, like, if it wasn't for them, I'd probably wouldn't be able to do this. They supported me through the highs and lows, and they were always the main source of my positivity and my never give up attitude. So I'm quite thankful to have the luck of getting this kind of parents, because I know some people have it hard in life because maybe their parents don't support their dreams, and I find it quite lucky to have my parents by my side on this time and every time, to be fair. So that was probably the most difficult thing, being away, especially in Germany, because I didn't speak any German.
Mm.
And the weather was also so different from Portugal, and the area that I was living in Essen. It's a more industrial side of Germany, so it wasn't like a big city. Because here in Portugal, I live 15 minutes by car from the beach. I live 20 minutes by car from the city. Like in Germany, I always just had that environment. If I it it was hard. It was an hard experience, and I was lucky to have one or two friends there that I could really call friends that helped me when I was there.
Is that something you could I kind of attest to, kind of bringing your mental health up a bit more, or how did you kind of you know get yourself going in the right gears?
Sorry, I didn't understand. Sorry.
So would you like would you say that it was the two friends that you made that kind of helped bring your spirits up, kind of bring your mental health up, or like how did you kind of get yourself going?
It was very helpful from them at the time. Um, because they always made sure that I was not going down, besides the things not going the way I expected or things not going the way I wanted. So I'm very thankful. I cannot, and I can name them there, and I can thank him through this. Besides, I already thanked them personally. Fayez and Norman were my biggest supports in Germany, and without them, things will be very different. So I was actually fortunate to spend time last weekend at 16 Karat Gold tournament with them. And it was like I'm very grateful for them.
I'll throw back to you, Carmel.
Unfortunately, around this time as well, the time frame that we're kind of in, COVID happened. How was that for you? Obviously, you spoke about there just after moving to Germany, getting settled, you're wrestling kind of fairly everywhere, and then bang, everything shuts down.
It was quite a motivating, because all the things that I wanted to achieve in 2019 were starting to happen in 2020. So I think January was probably my biggest year in wrestling. I won the Academy Cup in WXW. I went the mid card belt in Wrestling Cult. I was champion in Spain, tag team champion. So I was continuing to do main shows with WXW. I had the chance to do some big shows for them, and everything that was starting to go well kind of went to shit. So it was tough. It was tough, but at the same time, I tried to see the positive, because I had to move back to Portugal, and it was a good time to be with my family, to go through this together, and at least I had some positive about it.
That's good, yeah. In fairness, like there's not a lot to pick out of from COVID, but at least you had something out of it. In fairness, but halfway through COVID, kind of around the August time, I believe, WXW did run a couple of shows. So was that nice to be able to kind of like break that mold of kind of like stay indoors, don't do this, don't do that, to be able to go back to wrestling, even if it was only for a couple of days?
I was actually supposed to be on the tapings during still the winter, I think. Um, but I think the airport shut down at the time. I don't remember quite likely. But I always tried to keep myself in shape because I knew eventually things were going to open up and I needed to be ready because I knew that when shows started happening, the companies will need people that are already in shape. So so I tried to control what I could control at the time. There was myself and only myself. And eventually, when the tapings happened and I could actually travel there, I tried to make the most out of it. And I ended up having a match that means a lot to me against Kelly, Killer Kelly. And it was a feel-good moment because we kind of have similar stories, of course. Um, it was very special.
That was actually my next question was about Killer Kelly. You're like, how is it? I suppose having worked with her and now seeing the success that she's having in the likes of Impact.
It's very inspirational. She always has been my inspiration in terms of someone that came from the same roots as myself. We grew up in wrestling in Portugal in the same environment, quite likely, and see how well she did and she's still doing. Kind of gets my hopes up in terms of sometime I'll maybe join her, or at least I'll be able to do the same thing that she's doing elsewhere. So yeah, hope is probably the main thing that Kelly has offered me, maybe without knowing, throughout these years.
I want to ask you
But
because this is something we've never actually asked people who wrestled after COVID. Obviously, so much time has been put away without being on shows. What was it like going out to the first show after COVID to seeing people and actually getting to do what you get to do again?
It was a little bit weird. My first show, I think it was Catch Grand Prix for WXW, their version of the G1, and there was not a lot of people there. So there was a lot of spacing in between seats. There was a lot of empty seats because people were still trying to put their foot on the water and trying to realize what was happening, what they could do or could not do, what would be safe or not. So it was weird. It was a good moment in terms of being able to do again wrestling, but at the same time, it wasn't the same as before, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, makes sense. Yeah, Carmel.
one of my last kind of questions before we kind of head into OTT, you worked a match in 2022 against A-Kid, or in NXT now known as Axum, I think it is.
Axiom.
Uh,
Axiom.
how was that working with A-Kid?
It was once again, it was for the promotion when I had my first match. The one in Spain that I told you that I had my first
Yeah, yeah.
match. So I was the promotion was always quite supportive of me, and throughout the years they would see the work that I was putting in, the way I have evolved, the things that I was accomplishing. And the promoter just went to me and asked if I wanted to wrestle a kid, which I think it was probably his last independent date.
Ooh.
So it was very special for me because I have a very good relationship with him since the beginning. I when I went to La Triple W in Madrid, we got very close. So he was I think, quite happy to have that opportunity to wrestle me too, because it might quite be his last chance for us to wrestle. I hope not, but it could be our last chance to wrestle each other. So it was very special. He is super nice guy. He made the match all to showcase what I could do and have like a proper wrestling match. The crowd wasn't the best. It was at a Comic-Con, so people were coming and going. Of course,
Yeah.
they enjoyed the match. They stayed, but it's not a wrestling crowd, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
If it would have been a wrestling crowd, I think that match would have been very, very good.
Now, before Carmel moves on to OTT, I just want to ask, 'cause, so between, I believe, was it October 2021 Carmel or was it August?
20 which? Go again.
So between, I think it was like October or August 2021 to the following year, 2022, there was a
Yes.
long break for yourself in wrestling. Was that COVID related or was that just kind of taking a step back for a bit?
It was taking a step back for a bit because there was a point where I was so demotivated. Um, I didn't really think that I had what it takes to get a contract or to at least achieve a certain level. And at the same time, I was going through part-time jobs just so I can still train and I could still maintain like a good lifestyle and I can be healthy and I could still travel. And as you might know, Portugal is not like a very good financial country in terms of wages and stuff. So my bank account was suffering a lot. So I had to decide like do I still try to make this happen or I try to go out and find a job in my area of field. And eventually that was what I decided to choose because I didn't feel like I could really do more in wrestling.
And what kind of brought you back then a year later? Just, right, let's give this one more try and let's see how we get on.
It started with Portuguese wrestling with a project. The guys kind of asked me like, would you be able to do another match here in our promotion here in Portugal? This will be like a first time ever. It will be like against one of the guys that people think it's one of the best here. So it was just make sense that you wrestle them because I think you two would give a showing of what Portuguese wrestling could be. And I kind of accepted that opportunity. Eventually, we started giving trainings here, so things just came up naturally. And there was a point where I was talking to Omari about wrestling, and he sent me the poster for the camp, the OTT camp,
Hmm.
and he told me like, I think you have more to give than you think, and you should just come here and take this experience. Like if it goes well, it goes well. If it doesn't, you travel, you get to know Dublin, Ireland, and you have another experience. And I was a little bit reticent because at the same time, I didn't believe that I was anything special. And not that I believe it now, but at the time I didn't feel like I had what it takes to do more in wrestling. But I still went, and I got to meet a lot of good people, and it was probably the thing that turned it around for me in wrestling.
Obviously, then that brings us into OTT for you, Mr. Carmel.
Yeah, I was just going to talk about that weekend. Really, how was that weekend? How was it kind of, I suppose, mingling with so many different people from so many different countries in this one kind of area?
It was very fun. Like I knew Omari from before. So that kind of helped me get the first step with all the rest of the Irish boys. Um, I was lucky to have CJ West Cowboy letting me stay at his place. That kind of helped a lot with the logistics. And from then on, it was super easy. The guys were always so nice to me. I have really nothing to point bad about them. Every one of them were like and still are very amazing to me.
I actually
You
want
had
to
a match.
Sorry,
Sorry,
Carmel.
you.
I just want to bring up just a funny story you were told. I think it was on the IWE podcast of CJ. I think he came over to Portugal or something like that, and just he could not bear the heat.
Yeah, so I don't think it was that warm, but at the same time, I can understand that in Ireland, there's the weather is very different.
Yeah,
but I think the venue was small. It was packed at the time. Like it was a small theater. We had it sold out. So there was a lot of people there breathing. The lights, we had a lot of lights pointing to the ring, so the environment got a little bit warm. So I can actually understand where you came from.
But you had a good laugh at CJ for that.
Yeah, like when he went backstage, I was like, man, this is fucking hot. Like I could just like, man, this is quite natural for me. Like I'm kind of used to it, but I can understand.
I'll throw it back to you, Carmo.
Very,
Uh,
very, very, very good guy. I really love CJ West and what he brings to wrestling, especially now with his peacock gimmick.
Yeah.
yeah.
I really enjoyed it, and the people here in Portugal loved it. I've never in my life heard a pop that big from the lights switching on from his robe. So he's a very, very good performer.
I actually want to call CJ out here. We went to Hard Knocks on Sunday, and my sisters had never seen the Peacock gimmick, so they heard the song for the first time. My sister just below me has not stopped singing that song since we got back from Hard Knocks. CJ, damn you.
Yeah, I can understand.
Good old CJ. I want to bring it back to contenders for a second because you did have a match on that contender show. You had a tag match against Scotty Davis and Omari. How was it, I suppose, finding out that you were going to have that match, but as well as that, working with Omari in OTT when I suppose he was kind of the one that led you there?
It was one of those feel good moments. Like it was from the seminar, I kind of hoped that I could wrestle him, but I never expected that to actually be the case. Um, but it like Omari, to be fair, is quite one of the most gifted athletes. He's one of the best European wrestlers that are not under contract right now. So of course, having the opportunity to work and to learn from him was very good for me, especially having that connection with him.
And I'm kind of going to pass this one over to Martin a little bit. But Christmas Party, the match against Sammy D.
Yes. So I really want to talk about it because, like, no disrespect to the contender shows, but they are kind of the smaller shows of everything. But the Christmas show, I feel like that was the solidification for you in OTT and Irish wrestling because the match you had with Sam was just pure wrestling. It was just the best way I can describe it is people weren't as loud or weren't as noisy because we were just amazed by what was going on in the ring.
It was a very special moment. Sam was one of the biggest believers in my abilities since the moment we met. And he kind of was the one that gave me that imposter syndrome moment because uh, he was probably the one of the first guys to really look at me and really believe that I had potential to be something big. So having the opportunity to wrestle him in a big show like the Christmas show for OTT was a very special moment. I really enjoyed the match. Could have asked for any better opponent, any better match. Like I was really really happy, and I was happy for having the crowd and the locker room being happy about it too.
Now I have to say, we with all Sam's title defenses, we've never seen him get as it was a very one sided match in terms of you had Sam for 95% of the match. Do you think if there was a round two, it would go the Golden Boys' way?
Uh, a tough question. Like we cannot disrespect Sam. He has been the champion. He carried OTT in the last years. Um, so me coming here and saying that I could win on a round two, it's a little bit bold of me, especially because I lost the first one. But I think with the more experience that I get in OTT and the more times I see Sam wrestling and the way he wrestles, maybe I can have him scouted a little bit better. and I can give him like a better fight than I did the first time.
Love it. Love
Yeah,
it.
love it. Yeah. Now, as if Christmas party in Dublin wasn't big enough going against the OTT World Champion, the following night in Belfast, you had to go against Big Damo. How was that match, I suppose, working with Big Damo?
It was great. Like that was probably the biggest weekend in wrestling for me. If the match on Saturday wasn't big enough, we had a quite big match on
Big
Sunday
meaty
too.
man slapping meat match.
And it was a kind of match that I've wanted to have for a long time. I love that big hoss style, that All Japan style. The big guys slapping and hitting themselves is really the thing that I love in wrestling the most. So having the opportunity to work one of the best guys in that style, not only today, but for the past 20 years, and getting to learn directly from him, it's it's a dream come true, to be fair.
I have to ask. It's again a slightly weird question. Like I know Big Demo is quite a regular around the Irish scene. He has been for the last 2 years or so. But are you ever in the ring with the likes of a Demo or anyone of that magnitude? And you're kind of going, "Wow, that's Big Demo." I used to watch him on TV. Do you know that kind of way? Do you ever get that kind of moment, or are you able to separate it?
I usually I'm usually good at separating that stuff because uh as much as I respect them and I respect the things that they did, they're still wrestlers, they are still normal people. So if I put myself in their shoes, I probably wanted people to treat me as just one of them because we're all the same, to be fair. Some got a little bit further, some didn't. But at the end of the day, we're all equal as humans. Uh, I think I had a moment like that in WXW when I saw Daisuke Sekimoto. It was not like a super mark out moment, but I kind of like, yeah, this is the guy I usually see on YouTube beating up other people, and he's
Yeah.
just as jacked as he is online,
If not jackter.
if not jackter.
Now we're coming up to the local rumble, and there's one moment I'm going to talk about later because obviously I'm at the last show. But you took part in the OTT local rumble, and again, coming back to OTT after the Christmas party. This time now, you've got the Irish flag on your trunks, your embrace, you're almost one of ours. How was it entering the rumble itself? Because you came in very late, yeah, kind of very late into it, and as well, it was very well received. Once that song kicked in, everyone saw it was you. Eruption.
It was very humbling. It was it was just like the Irish flag on my gear isn't just a prop. Is really the how much Irish wrestling, OTT, and the Irish fans mean to me. Because I wasn't joking when I told you that I was ready to just drop my boots and go to the my next chapter in life. I was really ready to do that, and it was Irish wrestling that kept me going, and it was the first place in wrestling with all the experience that I got to this point is the only place where I really feel good, where I really enjoy myself backstage, where I really feel like the people support me 100%, and I couldn't be more thankful. Like I know that I say this quite a lot, but it's one of those things that every time I get the chance to say, I want to say it because if it wasn't for OTT, if it wasn't for Joe Cabray, if it wasn't for Sammy D, if it wasn't for Omari, CJ West, and all the boys backstage, I probably wouldn't be wrestling right now.
Love it. Carmo, do you want to throw
Yeah,
anything in?
why not? Before we get onto like gaff party and all that sort of stuff, you are a current champion in Portugal. You do have
I
the
am.
national absolute title. How was that winning that and kind of being a champion again in Portugal?
It was a it was a full circle moment. I got to wrestle some of the guys that I really wanted to wrestle here in Portugal. Some of them I already mentioned. Uh, I got to give them the experience of working with someone who has more experience. So if we can compare, I think I wanted to give them the same experience that I had with Sammy D, for example, or the same experience that I had with Omari. I wanted to give them that so they could improve too, and they could carry the scene when I'm not able to be there.
So I actually want to bring that up because I listened to the interview you did with Corey over at Fightful, and two things you had said was one, I've done everything in Portugal, and two, I want to make OT my first home. Do you think that time is slowly coming where you're gonna step away, hand it over to the next big person, and make OTT your main priority?
That's what I have in my mind right now to do. Um, it, I hope it's not abrupt. It's not out of nowhere. I want it to be a smooth sailing. But in my head, that's the only thing that makes sense.
Perfect. Carmel, do you want to bring up the fun that we've been seeing, not only at the local Rumble, but at the Gaff
Let's go
party?
into it. So, well, unfortunately, we've got Darragh Lynch running around with his trousers around his ankles, unfortunately. And his poor old mammy. Now, we've seen you come out to the rescue of Darragh's mammy a couple of times. Um, what do you make of Darragh Lynch?
He's a prick. Singing is not his main ability in life, I believe. And I think he needs someone to give him a few attention slaps that he should have gotten as a kid and didn't.
I like
That's
it.
quite
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I believe it's a privacy. You do get to get your hands on him April 7th up in Dublin. I don't want to say are you looking forward to it, but are you looking forward to it?
I am. I think the crowd is actually very excited to see it because he has been deserving for some time now.
Now, I'm going to bring up his mom now in a little bit because we asked some fan questions, and majority of them are about Dara's mom. So we'll talk about her in a little bit. But are you looking to make yourself Darragh Lynch's new pappy?
Psychologically, I already am because I
Yeah.
think right now he might have been regretting the choices in his life. Uh, but yeah, when once I get my hands on him, he will instantly know who his papi is.
Love
Love
it.
it.
I love it. Can't
Carmel,
wait.
I have one question left. So anything else you want to throw in? Go ahead
I
now.
think I think that's all the ones that I had, so I'm happy enough to hand it over
So
to you.
actually, I have two questions. Actually, no, I have three questions left. Jesus Christ. So one of them, look, right now in OTT we have the NLW title being held by Renzo Rose, and no Irish talent can fight for that title. But the biggest name when you ask anybody in there in the fans is, who do you want to take that title from Renzo? The one name everyone says is Santos. Is that something you'd be looking forward to try and get after you're done with Darragh Lynch?
I think if any wrestler isn't wrestling and isn't pursuing the championships, I think he is in the wrong business. So, of course, I have the NLW championship on my mind, but at the same time, I need to realize that there's a big queue in the roster.
Yeah.
Besides not being like a lot of European guys, there's a big queue. And right now in OTT, my record is not as healthy. I'm 1-2 at this time. So I need to find my momentum and really earn that opportunity. So if that opportunity comes before September, Renzo Rose versus Big Damo might not be the main event of the Comic Con show.
Ooh, love it.
I like it. Yeah, I like it.
Now, these two last questions now kind of go one into each other. So first I'm going to ask you is, what are your goals for the rest of 2024?
I have a big goal that is continue to do as many OTT shows that I can get the many reps that I can. Being out there with the crowd, having fun. I'm having a lot of fun with all the Darragh Lynch story. It has been refreshing for me having the opportunity to talk on the mic, to really express myself in a way that it's not just wrestling, that I really need to improve too, because I've never had proper training on doing promos in the ring or doing promos on the camera. So these are all things that I want to get as many reps as I can in, so I could be the best wrestler that I can, and I could serve the OTT and the OTT fans the best that I can.
Now, this last question, this is all you now. Doesn't matter the promotion. It doesn't matter the wrestler. It doesn't matter if they're here, if they're not. If you could fantasy book yourself now into 5 matches, what would those 5 matches be? And this could be anywhere. This could be fantasy book, WWE, AEW, OTT, anything.
So it's a hard question to be put on the spot. Let me think. So probably the first one, I think it would be fair if it was Dave Bautista. That would be fun. Second one, probably Walter.
Ooh, great shout.
Probably Walter. If I could have the 2019 Walter from OTT against babyface Santos from OTT, I think it will be a very good match. What else? I have 3 more, right?
There's 3 more.
Luke Jacobs.
Oh,
I love Luke
yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Luke Jacobs will be a great match. Let me
So Joe, if
think.
you're listening, please book that match. Please book Luke Jacobs against Goldenboy Santos, please.
I think it will be fun, especially by the things that I saw this weekend from Luke at the WXW Weekender. He is an amazing wrestler. He's one of the best in Europe too. Probably Will Ospreay, because he's the current best in the world, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I would be dumb if I didn't want to wrestle him.
I
And the
love
last
that one.
the last one would be Okada. Probably one
Oh,
of my
Ooh,
two
favorites too.
massive ones
Good shout.
sound.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be great.
Joe, just think
That's
a triple threat match: Okada, Ospreay, and Santos. Just do that for me.
that would have gave me like very heavy imposter syndromes. Like, what am I doing here? I'll just leave it for a singles match.
Now, we did ask the people over on our Instagram for some questions, so I'm going to start one off now once my phone stops messing about with me. So, first question we have: what did you get up to with Darragh's ma?
That's over 18 question. This podcast is PG, so I'll skip this question.
We're out before 9 p.m. We can't talk about it.
Dream opponent in OTT and Irish wrestling in general.
So I think since I've wrestled Sam already and I wrestled Dame already, I'd probably go with Jay.
Ooh,
Yeah.
my favorite.
Yeah.
This one comes from our own co-host Emmett. It's a bit of a joke question. What is your booking cost to chop Martin, me, 12 times?
Sorry, I didn't get it.
So one of our co-hosts asks, how much would it cost to chop me 12 times?
12 times. I'd do it for free. But if I can get some money,
Emmett, don't you dare.
I'll take it.
Don't you dare, Emmett.
You'll have an email. You'll have an email by tomorrow evening. It's all right.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time?
Tricky one. 5 years time, I'd be 22. So I'd hope to be signed by then. If I'm not signed, I'd be happily, and genuinely happy to continue to wrestle for OTT.
Maybe OTT champion. Who knows?
Uh, or probably before 5 years.
What is the biggest things you learned from Joe Cabray or Irish wrestling?
I think the main thing that they taught me is to always believe in myself and in my potential. That was a big mental thing that I really got to embrace, and I'm still trying to develop here. Wrestling wise, it might be the selling, the aspect that we talked over in the beginning of this interview. Selling is what really makes a good wrestler. And I was very fortunate to be advised by Joe in that aspect, in Ireland in the camps and in Portugal too.
If you weren't a wrestler, what would you be?
I'll probably right now I work at a bank, so I'd probably just be the same.
That's fair. What's your favorite thing about Ireland?
I like the thing that it's a big city, but at the same time it's small in terms of like distance. At least
Yeah,
from the points that I usually stay in Ireland. And besides the weather not being great,
it's terrible
the
here.
city itself is very beautiful.
It's a bit of a random question now, but has he had a pint of Guinness yet?
Oh, I totally had on my first camp.
The lads made sure you got it into you.
Yeah, I had to try it, but I still prefer the Portuguese beer. I'm sorry.
That's it, Joe. It's over now. And the last question now comes from our own Claire. It's another Mammy question. Since he's into Mammies, ask him will he bring mine out sometime. She was very taken by him at the last show.
Get me all the mummies. Get me all the mummies. That's the only thing that I'll say.
That's the perfect thing to have said. Uh,
That's the perfect thing to end it on, to be honest.
That's all the fan questions I have. Again, thank you everyone for sending those in. We appreciate you guys doing it every single time. Carmo, is there any last questions you want to throw in there?
I think we've covered most of it, to be honest. I think giving Santos all the memories is kind of is a good place to finish it.
I'll just throw one in. So with everything, like you've been through the ups and downs and stuff like that, for wrestlers who might be in that spot right now, what's the biggest bit of advice you would give to them?
Uh, Believe in yourself, believe in your abilities. Really listen to your friends, not your mates, your friends, the people that really care about you. Listen to what they say, because our mind is very tricky sometimes, and we see things that are not really happening, or sometimes our mind trick us to think the situation is worse than it really is. So surround yourself with a not a big group, a small group of real people, real friends that you can count on. So, because I think one of the greatest things that we have in this world is friendship and love. That's a bit corny to say, but that's how I feel, and I at as I told it before many times here, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my friends, for my family. So surround yourself with good people, and always believe in yourself because you're better than what you think.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah,
Well,
very good.
Santos, it was lovely having you on again. Thank you, especially after all the fucking me forgetting the shit like that.
Ah, come on.
So thank you so much. Now we always do this with the lads. This is your time now to promote whatever you want to promote, any upcoming shows, socials, whatever it is you want to promote or talk about. This is your moment.
Sure. So make sure you follow me on social media at SantosPro96 on X and on Instagram. And make sure you buy tickets to April 7th, OTT Supremacy, and go see me whoop Darragh Lynch ass and steal his money.
Love
Can't
that.
wait. Can't wait.
Mr. Carmo, this is your time.
Follow us at the FiveMarks as well. FiveMarks Pod on Twitter, FiveMarks Podcast everywhere else. And please, please, please subscribe to the YouTube. Santos, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for having me. I'm really happy of how this conversation went, and the fans watching are happy too. Hopefully, I could see you at the next shows, and don't be shy to ask for a picture or to talk. Feel free.
But leave your mammy away. Don't bring our mothers up. Like, seriously, don't.
And bring all your mothers.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
On that note, we have been the FiveMarks Podcast, and we are for another week. We are officially ding, ding, done.